Hey guys, welcome back to another Leetcode problem solving tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you guys how to solve Leetcode problem 49 group anagrams. So you guys should have already read the instructions, but essentially it's asking us to group all of these words into their own anagrams. And an anagram is just if two words are anagrams, then they have the same number of letters, but they might be in different rearrangements. So the idea is we want to turn every single one of these strings into a unique representation. Not unique, but unique for that specific combination of letters and that counts. So I want to create a function which is going to generate a representation. And the idea of this function is it's almost like a hashing algorithm, but not really. We only care about how many of each letter there is in the word. We don't actually care about the rearrangements. So this function's only going to look at how many of each letter is in the word and generate some kind of output for that. And one thing I could do is to generate this representation. Let me just give you an example. So if we gave an input as AAB, we'd want the output, let's just say it's 3, okay? And what we want is this word has two A's and one B, so any other word with two A's and one B should also generate 3. So we want BAA to generate 3, and ABA, this should also give 3. ABB, this might give something completely different, like 56. That's the idea. We want to generate a unique representation for any string which has the same number of characters for each character. And then this is going to allow us to convert each of these words into their representation, then compare their representations to check if they're anagrams or not. So how are we going to build this function? Well, one thing you could do is just use a dictionary. So you could just do something like letter counts, and then you just go through each character in string and add one to the letter count if it's there. Then you could do something with that. But that's a bit complicated because it gets weird when you're trying to compare dictionaries. So another thing you could do is use an array, right? An array is, let's say we create an array, and let's just call this letter counts again. And this is going to be an array of length 26. So each number actually represents each item, each index represents that specific letter. And we just want to, let's just fill it with zeros initially, and then we can just do const character of str, and essentially we want to convert this character into a index. So we can do that using ASCII. And to convert to ASCII, we can just use the charcode@0 function. So let me give you guys an example. Let me just open this up. And let's say we have lowercase a dot charcode@0. This returns 97, which is the ASCII code for A. So we can generate the index using character.charcode@0 and then subtract 97 so that A gets standardized to become 0 and Z gets standardized to index 25. Then what we can do is just do letter counts index plus equals 1. So here we go. Let me just quickly, and then we just want to return letter counts, and I'll just show you guys what this does. So let's print generate representation and pass in the string AAB. Sorry, not print, console.log. And I'm also going to print representation for ABA and BAA, like so. Right, so it's quite a lot, but you can see that all three of these arrays are the same. We have 2 in a column for A, 1 in a column for B, and so on. So this representation is pretty good, but one thing you notice is that it's returning an array, and when we want to group these anagrams, we're actually going to want to use something called a hash map to actually detect when these anagrams are the same. And unfortunately, you can't use an array as the key for a hash map. So one solution to this would be, obviously, we could convert this array into a string using some methods, although there might be some problems associated with that. Let me just think of some. Right. So, yeah, okay. So I'm going to convert this array to a string, and let me just show you guys what I mean. If we have this array like this, okay. That's our array, and to convert it to a string, we can just use the JSON library. So we could do something like JSON.stringify array, and that's going to return this, which we can use as our key. And I'm just thinking if there's any situations where we could have two keys being the same. Right, okay. Yeah, I think we should be good because the commas are kind of saving us here. There's commas between each individual one. So we should be good here. So that's what I'll do. I'll return the JSON.stringify of these letter counts. So this generates a unique representation every time there's a different number of letters. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a dictionary for all the anagrams. Let me just define this as a key value pair. It's going to be storing arrays of strings. We're just going to go through each string. So for str of strs, get the representation as just generate representation of str. Then we can check if this representation already exists. So if if anagrams representation is not equal to undefined. What's this? Oh yeah. If it's not equal to undefined, then we can just add this current string to the array. And otherwise we'll just create a new array like that. So essentially what we're doing here is we're generating a representation for one of these strings, then we're checking if that representation exists in the anagrams hash map. If it does, then it means another string before it also had the same representation, which means it's an anagram of it. And if that's true, we're just going to push that to that array containing all those strings. Otherwise, we're creating a new list with the string inside of it, using the string's anagram representation as the key. So there we go, we've created our anagrams, and now this is going to be a list of key value pairs of just representation and then the group of anagrams. So what we want to do is we essentially just want to remove these representations. So we can just do something like anagram strings, and it's just a simple loop for key in anagrams. We're just going to add whatever was inside of here. And then we can just return anagram strings like that. So that should be the solution. And let's see if it works properly. Okay, there we go. So the solution worked, however it was quite slow and it used up quite a bit of memory. You can see there's two heaps and there's different types. So what a lot of solutions do is they generate this representation in a different way. So we've used an array, but what we could have done instead is simply sort the string, because if you think about it, when you sort the string, you put all the letters in order. So sorting a string is essentially the same thing as removing its arrangement. So to sort a string, we can just do something like return. So we'll have to split the string, then we'll have to sort it, and then we'd have to convert it back into a string by just joining it. I believe it's something like this. Yeah, okay, there we go. So let me just apply this method inside of Dino. Let's say we have the string BAA, we apply this, and it sorts the string just like that. So that's another way of doing it, and we're basically just generating this representation in a different way. We shouldn't need to change any of the code up here, since that's not really worried about anything. That's just sort of organizing the representations. And let's see if this helps our case at all. Okay, so hasn't really helped our case too much. Our representation, because technically this is O of n, this is O of log n, so technically this should actually be faster. But we've also got some inefficiencies here, since we're looping through twice. We could definitely improve that. And there's different ways if we use base representations. So think about the array we have here. If we just sort of think of that as a base 101 number, then we can convert this into numeric representations and then use those as keys. There's all sorts of things, but this is the basic idea and how you solve this. You just need to normalize all of these strings and then group them together. So thanks for watching, and that was how you solve Leetcode problem number 49. See you guys in a future tutorial. Bye.